Good morning, everybody. This is Mark. We're back here for the morning call. It's Wednesday. So over the last 2 days, it has been a little challenging. Yesterday we gapped down pretty decently. Uh, we obviously had no follow through on Monday, and you're just definitely getting oil weighing on this entire tape. Some geopolitical news, but overall indices actually are hanging in there, even though they don't really look like a whole lot. They're just really holding in the top third of the trading range right now. So we'll have to wait and see. We're down a little bit this morning. We'll have to wait and see if there's anything that's going to, push it one way or another. We'll have to wait and see. I was talking about the IBB yesterday, looking like it was possibly going to break down as long as if it didn't hold the 320 level, and it ended up holding it. So, this tape is just we're in that range where, again, everything that looks bad, a day later it turns good, vice versa, hence the range-bound action. So we had some news this morning I think people should be looking at. Costco had earnings down like $4 or $5 when I came in. We'll have to see if it holds the 8 or 21 day to see if it's worthwhile. Overall, the stock has obviously been on been at highs and looks good. Lulu, on the other hand, came out with bad earnings. I think it's down $5, so that's something to keep on the radar. Smack down the lower third of its trading range. We'll have to see if it has any recovery. Accordingly, Wynn had some news, and that was, I think, Steve Wynn bought a million shares of stock, million shares of stock back. So that's pushing it up $5-6. But chart-wise, it's really just been languishing for a long time. Then you had KMI, which I guess is the big oil news, reduced their dividend, which was expected, 51 cents. I think people might have wanted more for a bigger gap down. It seemed unched when I came, maybe down a little bit, but I know it was down $1 and change, last night or pre-market. So it has recovered. We'll have to see if that helps oil. Let's go to some of the charts that we look at on a daily basis. You have Google hanging, nothing really to talk about except that it's held its 21-day moving average. It looks fine. I don't have any points for us to really disseminate onto where we look at. Amazon, on the other hand, I think actually looks really good. I think it's unched for the day, but it gets above 684, it's going to truck its way to 700 or higher. So keep that on the radar. It definitely showed some strength yesterday. Facebook, I've been talking about, doesn't really do anything until it gets out of this range, and above that range is 108. It's still in that level where it's not doing a whole lot. Netflix had a nice rally yesterday, but I still think it needs more time. But overall, it's one of those that seems to be able to be bought on pullbacks accordingly. Apple, which I don't really mention that often because just quite frankly, it's in a very tight range. The only trigger would probably be above 1950, 1970, possibly to go higher. I don't know if that's going to happen. And 115 is probably a place to buy it. In between that range, it's really a whole lot of nothing. Tesla, same. A few days down, sideways action, possibly forming an ascending channel, which is bullish, or descending channel, which is bullish. We'll have to wait and see. So maybe above 235, possibly gets a move back to 235. But these are short-term ideas. Yahoo in the news, it's up. That's why Baba's up a little bit. They're not going to do the Baba spinoff based on tax reasons, but they're going to sell some core assets, so it's up a little bit there. And then Baba actually looks pretty good to me. I am long a little bit, above 85.20, 85.30, possibly new highs, and then even higher. Finish the year strong. Obviously, back in June, you do have it back at $95, so who knows what it can do and where it can get to accordingly. Banks, nothing. No real pattern except that, follow through yesterday to the downside, which is not a really good sign. That's Goldman, and that's Citigroup. Bios, as I said, I mentioned them early on. There's a few standouts. ALXN on the, looking like it's clearing some key levels. Had some news. Celgene had an okay day yesterday, but it's still, in the doldrums, not really doing anything. See if it has some continuation. RGN, same. They're just range bound, and you got to understand the stocks and how they trade and where to really look accordingly. VRX, Had a decent day yesterday. It didn't close that great. It closed fine, but first green day in 5, something to keep on the radar. But again, it's been down so much for the year. I don't think people are forcing to be on the books, by year end, and that's okay. That's okay. So overall, guys, this tape, we're having very long days. It feels like, a lot of back and forth, and at the end, not a whole lot happens. I'm not sure when that's going to change, but overall, you just have to, respect it. We had a nice reversal yesterday morning from a big down open, which, closed the spiders down, but obviously a lot of the stocks, some of the high betas, some of the biotechs rallied very, very nicely. NASDAQ was certainly stronger than the other indices. Today, oil is the big factor. That's really a 1,000-pound gorilla that's keeping stuff down, and we'll have to wait and see. So I think if you're going to follow, trade the spiders or trade some of these indices, make sure you're looking at the USO and seeing that if there's any, any trade for us to do from the long or short side, because they're basically going toe to toe across the board. VIX did pop up a little bit yesterday, but not enough to get me a red flag. And based on what I'm seeing on the VXX, nothing really to write home about technically. And here's the VIX, $17. Getting up there, you might get a move. If you get a move above 20, you get to 25 pretty quickly. But I don't see what the catalyst is that's going to happen, at least today. So keep things intact. I would trade defensively. I've been continuing to do that. I'm trying to do that more and more. And, action, we're definitely getting enough intraday action and movement for us to take advantage of it. You just have to really respect your levels and know your stocks. And I think that's the key to Trading 101, which we always know. So good luck today. I'll be back on the radio, and I'll see you back at the close.